Okay, there we go. Let's see. Okay. All right, guys. Let me flash my camera here. Okay, so we're gonna walk to the alphabet again. Frank, you've probably been studying up. What's the first letter? You guys probably all know. Yeah. Ooh, I get a little feedback. Maybe everybody cut your mic unless you're gonna speak. But yeah, David, if you can cut your mic. Yeah. So Frank, what's the first letter?
Alpha.
Alpha, right? Okay, and that's a vowel too. I'm sure David knew that. What's the next letter?
Beta.
Beta. Let me see if you guys can see that. Now this is all lowercase, by the way. We're just going to focus on lowercase right now. Okay, the next letter is not C. It's gamma. Okay, and so far, let me see. I just got some new pens this week. So that's a vowel. I'll go ahead and underline the vowels. Alpha, beta, gamma, and then maybe Frank, cut your mic. David, do you know what the next letter is?
Is it delta?
You got it, man. In fact, we could spell your name in Greek. It would be Dawid. That's how they spell it. So instead of a V, it's upsilon.
Yeah. I had a friend from Pakistan that asked me if that's how I pronounce my name, and I was like, no.
He actually said Dawid.
Yeah, he asked me. He's like, "Oh, do you pronounce it David or Dawid?"
Oh, okay.
Interestingly, in Spanish, well, it's David. So you still got the V, but the I has kind of like that long I.
Okay. So here's another vowel: alpha, epsilon. That's our first two vowels. So alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon. Everybody want to repeat that? I know Lewis is repeating it in the car.
Yeah. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon.
All right. Frank, you got that right?
Yes.
You got this. Okay. And then the next letter is not phi. You would think that it would be, right? It's not. Phi is like way towards the end of the alphabet. It's like the fourth letter from the end, I think. So these next three letters kind of sound a lot similar. So what would be at the end of our alphabet, Z, which is zeta, is actually like right here. So it's, I guess that's the way I do it. I guess there might be some slight variance on how to do that, but alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, looks like an italics N, theta. So they all sound the same. I always remember those. That's how I learned them. Like they sound the same. I just kept saying it, zeta, eta, theta, zeta, eta, theta, zeta, eta, theta, until finally, when I get to that point, I just rattle them up. So alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta. There's actually almost even, some of the groups that I've hung around with where they put like a D or a delta sound in there, kind of like they do in Europe. So they would say it's data instead of zeta, but you can say it either way. I don't care. And then this is a vowel, eta. And then we got theta, which of course would be similar to our TH in our language. So alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta. Everybody want to rattle that off?
Alpha, beta, gamma, epsilon, zeta, eta.
Theta.
Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, theta, eta, theta.
Okay, so it's zeta, eta, theta. Make sure you get those in the right order. I mean, not that it's super important, because once you learn the letters, the order of how they fall in the alphabet is not really that important, but I guess just for learning, I guess. Yeah, it's not super important. But. So David, give me the three vowels that we got so far.
All right, alpha, epsilon, and eta.
There you go. Awesome. Okay, Lewis, will you be able to chime in if I ask you the next question? You got to focus on driving. If you don't answer, then I'll just assume you're focused on driving.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, brother. So do you know the next letter after theta? Do you remember?
I heard you say epsilon. I don't think that's it.
Yeah, it's a vowel.
No, I don't think I do off the top of my head.
Okay, so it's the Greek equivalent of our letter I. Do you remember that?
No, I started practicing it, but I got down to like 3 or 4 letters, and I was just trying to grapple with those, and
Okay.
I got caught up with it more.
Yeah, no worries, brother. We'll get it. So it's Yoda. I know when I was learning, I kept wanting to put like something up here, but then it doesn't have like a little. It doesn't have that. So it's basically just the base part. So Yoda. So that of course is a vowel. You probably would have guessed that. So far we got alpha, epsilon, eta, and Yoda as our vowels. And by the way, there's 24 letters in the Greek alphabet. So now you probably want to say, okay, after Yoda, do we have like a J in the Greek alphabet? We don't have that. So we throw that out and skip right to the next letter. It looks like that, but it's actually pronounced a little differently. I'm sure David's probably got this because of engineering. Just even a fraternity, they use these letters a lot. Sorority.
I would just be throwing out. I would just be guessing a random Greek letter.
Well,
I don't actually know what follows.
Okay, so we don't have a J, right? So throw that out. What comes after that, and what would be similar to that in Greek? So I, J, K. So what would be like K in Greek? Do you remember? What is it?
Kappa.
Kappa. There you go, man. All right, so Kappa. In fact, let me get rid of this. Move it over.
I thought you were asking me similar to a J. I'm like, man, I don't know any Greek letters similar to a J.
Yeah, no. You're right. Okay. So Yoda, Kappa, and then next, similar to our L, what would that be?
Lambda.
Right. So lambda, this is the way it looks when lowercase. If it's uppercase, it looks like this. Looks like a teepee or like a tent or something. But this is the lowercase one where it looks like a sign or something, and there's a stick holding it up or something. So alpha.
I always want to do it like an upside down Y.
Yeah, or an upside down Y. There you go. Yeah, kind of which a little bit similar to gamma, kind of. A little bit of. Anyway, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, theta, Yoda, kappa, lambda, and then let's see. Yeah, so in our alphabet would be I, J, K, L, M. So anybody know something similar? I know Frank knows this, or even Lewis. If you want to, Lewis, you want to tell me what's similar to M in Greek? Do you remember?
Similar to him would be. I don't know, man.
I'll draw it, but anybody, Frank, you probably got this. How do you pronounce that?
You.
Yeah, you could either say mu or moo. You could moo like a cow if you want. So, and then the next one doesn't look like a N, but it's actually, got a similar sound when you put it into a sentence. But how would you pronounce that one? Anybody?
New.
New, yeah. So Yoda, kappa, lambda, mu, nu. These are all consonants. These are consonants.
Does new?
Yep.
Isn't new a little squiggly? Lowercase.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, let me see. Let's see. Yeah, maybe a little curl on it or something. So Yoda, kappa, lambda, mu, nu. Anybody know the next letter? Frank? Do you remember this one? Frank, do you remember?
Yes. C.
C, there you go. It's just kind of a funny looking little thing. It's got a little, like if you were to draw a line here where the base of the line, this would kind of fall down below, kind of like zeta, or even the eta, or the beta might fall below and the gamma might fall below, the line. So Yoda, kappa, lambda, mu, nu, C. David probably knows this next one. I know the way I learned it in engineering is spelled or pronounced differently than the Erasmian pronunciation we're going to be using. So 3.14159.
Pi.
Pi, right? Yeah. So we were going to pronounce it P though, which is easy to remember because it's like our alphabet. So P, and then kind of a R sound. Anybody know the next one? Kind of like an R sound.
Row.
Row, yeah. Row, yeah. And so we got. Anybody want to walk through as far as you can through the alphabet? David, can you try that, and we'll.
All right. Alpha, beta, gamma, theta.
Oh no.
Epsilon. Alpha, beta.
Gamma. Delta.
Delta. Yeah.
There you go.
Alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, Yoda, kappa. Kappa. Kappa, lambda.
Lambda, right?
Lambda, mu, nu, C. P, and rho.
Okay. Let me check something real quick, guys. This video recording. Oh. Okay. Good.
No,
Sorry, guys. Oh, did Lewis have to drop off? Sorry, guys. I think I fat fingered the button there and hung up. So yeah, I guess Lewis had to drop off though. Yeah.
Well, he didn't say, but I guess it may be driving cut out.
Yeah, or something. Okay. Yeah. He was going to visit his brother, and yep. So okay. All right. So So anyway, I guess David, did you walk through it already? You started to, right? So start again. Practice makes perfect.
Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, delta. Not delta. Theta. Yoda, kappa, lambda, mu, nu, C, P, rho.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put it here. This is kind of how you pronounce this with a K-S. So it's kind of C, and I think you got it, but just anyone else that watches the video, make sure they get that. That's kind of the pronunciation of that. Okay. So P, rho, so you got that. Okay, so Frank, what's the next letter after that?
Let's see, P, rho. Is it Omicron or Upsilon?
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. We left out. Oh, man. Wait a minute.
Okay.
We dropped out Omicron. Okay, Yoda, Kappa, Lambda, Mu, Nu, C, Omicron.
That's right. Omicron
P. Okay, I left that out. Omicron, P, rho. Yeah.
Then Upsilon.
Left that one out. Okay. Let's see. C, Omicron, P, rho. Yep. Okay, so that's a vowel. So our vowels are alpha, epsilon, eta, Yoda, Omicron so far. Okay. So yeah, so Omicron, P, rho. What's the next one?
Upsilon.
A couple before that.
Okay, let's see. P, rho.
R, S, T, U.
Oh, is it really Sigma Tau? Okay,
Yeah.
Sigma.
Yeah, Sigma, yeah. Okay.
Tau.
Tau, right.
Upsilon.
Yeah, so this part right here is, yeah, and, well, let's see. O, P, Q, R. Yeah, if you drop out the Q, R, S, T, U, it's pretty much the same as our alphabet. And then, yeah, even from here, except you add that. Let's see. What's that? Oh, you know what? My battery's down on my laptop. Let me get my charger. What do I do with that? All right. There we go. Make sure it's charging. Yep. All right. Cool. All right. So let's see here. So we got Omicron, P, Rho, Sigma, Tau, Upsilon. David, you know what comes after that? There's 4 more letters left in the alphabet. I'll give you a clue. It sounds like an F. Sounds like an F. You got your mic off, by the way, brother.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm drawing a blank.
You drawing a blank?
Phi?
Phi, yeah, Phi. Yeah. You kind of just do like a Omicron, then you drop down through. Which even some thetas are kind of like that, but they're 90 degrees. I see some thetas, they almost look kind of cursive. They look kind of like this or something like that. I've seen in some manuscripts where it was so like script-like that the first time I saw it, I didn't even know what it was. I was like, what is that? Kind of bizarre. So, but yeah, so the theta is like a sideways bar and the phi is a vertical bar. Okay, yep, these are all consonants except for the upsilon, of course. Or we could have guessed that. So far our vowels, let's see, we've got 3 more letters. Let's finish those off and then we'll do our vowels. So the next letter is kind of bizarre. It's, the first letter of the word charis, or charis, depending on how you pronounce it. Charis, that they would translate as grace or thanks or gratitude or something like that. Does anybody know that? It looks like an X. I'll just tell you, it looks like an X, but kind of the name's different, very different. Yeah, it's like you got like almost like a guttural Hebrew, Arabic key, kind of thing in there. Yeah. Usually if it's in a word, especially if it's in the middle of a word, it pretty much sounds like a kappa. I can't distinguish it. So I'm trying to think of a word that maybe it would be somewhere in the midst of the letters.
And that's also the word that's the letter that starts Christos, right? Is the key.
Right, exactly. So it'd be, Chi, and then Rho, and then Yoda, Sigma, Tau, Omicron, Sigma. So actually, since we're talking about Sigma, why did I do that one like that? Because whenever you're at the end, if you're in the middle or even at the beginning, you're always using this one. It's like an oddball letter. But anytime you're at the end, the final Sigma, that's what they call it, would be this type. So it looks kind of like RS, except maybe it, kind of, if this is the line, it kind of maybe drop below a little bit or something. But I mean, if you made it like RS, that would be fine.
And that's just a grammar thing?
Oh, you mean the final Sigma?
Yeah, that has the Sigma at the end.
Yeah,
changed.
I guess just remember that as part of the alphabet. It's like this is, if Sigma is the first letter or any letter except for the final one, it's always going to look like this. But, like this right here. But if it's anything else, it's going to look like kind of like our S. It's going to look like a snake. Yeah. So I guess I did have a key up there, didn't I? Okay. So after the key, then it's going to be like almost like a candlestick or something, almost like Hanukkah, except instead of being 8 candles, there's only 3. Does anybody know that letter? 2 letters left in our alphabet. Frank, you know that? C, right? Okay, so it's pronounced like P sigma. So it's pronounced like that, but if you put it all together, C. So it's like, up here this is pronounced like kappa sigma. This one is pronounced like P sigma. And like I said, I'll leave that there and put it right here. So basically you kind of start out with a little bit of a curl, almost like a punch bowl or something, and then you just do a vertical line down in between. I guess it kind of looks like a farmer's pitchfork or something a little bit. Yeah. So this is kind of what it sounds like. Psi. So he, psi, and then we got 1 letter left, and we've got the. I'll just tell you, this is the small o. That's why they call it the word micron, which you could imagine that's where we get micro, right? Small, right? So Omicron. So Omicron. Get rid of that. Put it up a little high. So Omicron, so that's like small o. But now this one is O, and then it's got the word for big, or large, which is mega. Omega. So that's how you would pronounce this. So this is how you pronounce this one, Omicron. And then the last one is going to be Omega, which kind of looks like a lowercase w. Right? And then the capital is this sign for ohms, right? It'd be like this. So that would be the capital for Omega. Okay. So we got 24 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And Omega is our last vowel. So let me get rid of that. That's not a vowel. And put that back in red. It's not misleading. Okay. So our vowels are alpha, epsilon, eta, Yoda. Okay. Yoda, Omicron, upsilon, omega. So there should be 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. Okay. So, David, can you walk through it again? Because I'm gonna probably erase it here in about 5 minutes.
All right. Alpha, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, Yoda, kappa, lambda, mu, Xi, Omicron, P, Rho, sigma, tau, upsilon.
Yeah. Upsilon. Use our alphabet.
Upsilon. Yeah.
Upsilon. That's right.
Upsilon.
And then this one's in our alphabet. Would be
P.
Yeah. P. Right.
And then Chi.
Yeah.
Uh,
here you go. Using Greek alphabet.
C.
C.
P, C, and Omega.
Omega, there you go. There you go. Okay, Frank, you want to go through it?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu, nu, xi, omicron, pi, rho, sigma, tau, upsilon, phi, chi, psi, omega.
Perfect, guys. Awesome. All right. Does anybody want to go through it again before I erase it, or you feeling okay, David? Daweed?
I think I'm good.
Okay, man. Okay, so actually, so alpha, epsilon, eta. Let me put those up here. So I'll put all the vowels, and we'll talk about diphthongs. So alpha, epsilon, eta, and this one Yoda, Omicron, upsilon, and then omega. Okay. Yeah, you might even want to like put them on a note card and carry them around, or I'm, doing Sunday morning little meeting with David, Jim and Daniel Schneider, and we've kind of been, they've got me doing this thing where we're memorizing scripture every week. So I find that getting Notepad out and just like testing my memory by actually typing it out and stuff really is helping me memorize. So that would be even a good thing too, just as even if you practice in Notepad, you'd have to install. I can show you guys how to install later on, how to install a Greek keyboard and stuff where I flip between English and just a couple keystrokes to flip between the two keyboards. But yeah, even if you did it on a piece of paper, writing it out really helps. So yeah, David, you want to go through the vowels there?
Alpha, epsilon, eta, Yoda, Omicron, upsilon, omega.
Okay, nice. Okay, now we have what's called diphthongs. And there's 7 of those, and there's 8 that we'll throw it in there, but probably may not even see it in the New Testament. It's probably in other Greek writings. I don't think it's in the New Testament. It might be in the Septuagint, but you can find it on the web, but usually it's 7 main ones, I think, because of the New Testament. So they would be basically where most of them are just using these core vowels, alpha, epsilon, and omicron, and then pairing it together with a couple of these other vowels, upsilon, iota. And by pairing those together, as you can imagine, you're going to get like 6 combinations by pairing these guys up with one of these guys. And so that's 6 of the 7, and then there's one other one. So if you take alpha and you could take alpha and upsilon, that's one. Alpha and iota, and then epsilon and upsilon, epsilon and iota. And the whole idea of what a diphthong is instead of like any other combination of vowels, you would pronounce them individually. You would have, when you got 2 vowels together and they're not a diphthong, there would be 2 syllables, so you pronounce them, individually like any other syllables. But when you have these guys together, it's a diphthong. So it's pronounced as one sound. So we'll have to learn those as well. So in a sense of all the sounds we're learning, it's 24 for 24 vowels or 24 letters, and then 7 more diphthongs. The 8th one, don't worry about that one. I mean, I'll mention it, but it's real similar to another one anyway. So we'll basically be learning like 31 sounds that we'll use as building blocks to build our words and stuff. So anyway, so alpha, upsilon, and we'll go into that in a second. In fact, this is kind of a review because I think we did that last week. But alpha, iota, epsilon, upsilon, epsilon, iota. So now we'll move on to the next one. Oh, we did that already. Omicron Upsilon. And then we got Omicron Yoda. Okay. So the way we pronounce those, Frank, do you remember how to pronounce this first one?
Sorry, the mic was off. The ow.
Yeah, so like cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of idea. And then this here is I, so I guess it would be like that. Or I'm using epsilon. Should be using R. Like R's. So you pronounce just like our eyeball, our eye. So cow. So there'd be ow and I. So now this one would be. You could pronounce it U like Europe, and that's totally fine. But I know the one school I went to, they would pronounce it AU. So that's kind of a habit I picked up. But if you just want to say U, like when we say the word that starts out with epsilon, upsilon, Eucharist, you could say Eucharist, or you could say Eucharist. I just say Eucharist now that I think about it. And that would be spelled upsilon, or epsilon, upsilon, and then chi, alpha, rho, iota, sigma, tau. Actually, I was saying the English, like, what would you call that? Call it transliteration. I forget exactly, but anyway, the Greek word is Eucharistia. So I think the accent is here. We'll get into accents later on. But anyway, so that first part, eu, or Eucharistia. So you can pronounce it like eu, like a, or I'm sorry, starting to use Greek letters, like a, eu, or you could just pronounce it like you, eu, or you, whichever one. I don't really care either one. I mean, as we're conversing, we're getting better and better at conversing and stuff in Greek. I think everybody will understand each other, whichever one we use. So if somebody said Eucharistia versus Eucharistia, I think nobody's going to have a problem. So, but those are like two different ways to hear people pronounce it. And then this one would be A. So it's kind of like this. I guess I keep using a Greek letter. So ow, I, eu, or you, a, and then Frank, do you remember that one? Omicron upsilon.
That's, believe it or not, the only one I can't recall.
Yeah, let's see.
Is it? I guess is it O?
O?
O? Yeah, O. Something like that.
Oh, like O? You mean like O?
Like O?
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's my guess.
Right.
No?
It's actually almost like if you said you take the Greek word doulos, and so it'd be like ooh, like do, like doulos, like ooh. I guess you could write it that way, or in English you could write it EW, I guess. But it's ooh, basically. And then this last one is gonna be like, almost like you could guess, it'd be oil. So oi. Almost like what do they call those type Jews up in like New York? Some of them, maybe some of them in Miami, but they always have that saying. They say oy vey, oi. So it's kind of that oi sound. So you got oi, you got oo, you got a, you got you or au, you got I, and you got ow. So those are the 6 of them anyway. And then the last one we are missing would be let's see if I can remember what it is.
Is it eta and the upsilon? Eta upsilon?
Oh, eta upsilon, we got that right here. Oh, eta upsilon. Yeah, that was the 8th one, though I said it's not really used much. I'll go ahead and mention it since you mentioned it. Yeah, eta upsilon. I don't even know if that's in the New Testament. I don't think that it is. But it would be another Greek writings of the period too. Maybe Greek Septuagint or something. I'll look into that sometime, find out which one that is for. But let's see, so we've got this one, this one, this one. I remember which one it is. It's probably using eta. I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, these are easy to remember because you just take these three: alpha, epsilon, omicron, and then once we get into contract verbs, you'll find that these are the 3 types of contract verbs, so it's really easy to remember. And then you get these 2, and you just combine them up. This one with each of these, you get 2, and then this with each of these, you get 2. This one with each of these, and you got 2, and then you get your 6 main diphthongs. We didn't say upsilon. We actually didn't say this one. It's staring me in the face. It's right here. This is a diphthong. So we add that one. Right in front of me. Oui, monsieur. So yeah, so that's pronounced like we would say we. Yeah, we. And this is not much different than this one. Like epsilon, we can get into that too. I mean, in fact, I could point you. Do you remember which video it was, Frank? I could point David to where we actually went through pronouncing all the letters in the alphabet. But I don't remember. I think it was
2.
You think it was number 2? Yeah, it's probably number 2. Yeah, because that's right. Video number 1 was actually just going through the whole alphabet and learning how to say the alphabet. And that's as far as we made it. And then, video 2 was pronouncing. You're right. So maybe if you want to scan through that, probably the first 3/4 of the video might be of interest to you. Maybe even less of it. So you could scan through it or something. But so epsilon is pronounced like eh, whereas eta is pronounced like a. Just even the fact that it's called eta. A. So there's a subtle difference in a. So when you come to this sort of thing where you got epsilon upsilon and you got eta upsilon, it's like eu, but it's eu. So it's so subtle of a difference. I mean, I would just almost say they're both the same. I mean, you could have a little difference in there, eu or. Yeah, I don't know if I would pronounce it. Yeah, but eu. I would pronounce it eu, I think. So, but these are the main ones. Including eu. This one right here, we, ow, I, and again, this is how you pronounce them. Yeah. Anyway, we, ow, I, eu. Epsilon Yoda is A, and then Omicron Upsilon is U. Either one of these, whichever one phonetically helps you to think of how to pronounce it. So U versus Oi, which would be like oil or Oi. That's pretty similar to our alphabet, so it's probably not too hard to remember. This shouldn't be too hard either. There's a lot of words that have AI in it that, what would be a word that's got AI in it?
Well, I was studying with the AU, and then the AI, aisle.
Wait, brother, say that again.
I was trying to put it where they were spelled that way. I was.
Hey, David, can you, okay, let's try that better because it seemed like there's some feedback.
Yeah, maybe like rain. Brett, your mic is
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was just trying to cut off some of the mic here. Mine or actually, David. Okay, you got yours off. Okay, let's cut off these mics and then maybe Frank, if you could speak, because it seemed like we were getting feedback or something.
Yeah, I was just saying that while I was practicing, and it's kind of funny because I had the notes on my desk all week until right before this. They disappeared. I don't know where they are. But I was doing on the AU like sauerkraut, out, and AI was like aisle.
Okay.
Like, so that, and
Right.
EU was like, Europe, I guess. The EI, I had A like 8.
Right.
And I think the OU was like in soup. OI was oil, just like you have there, was what I was doing. So, oh yeah, down there, that was sorry, yeah, A8, EIGHT. 8.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, okay, and then the OU was, I think, as in soup or something. I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Ooh, yeah, soup.
OI was oil, just like you have there.
Okay. Yep. And then this one here. Which is down here.
Oh yeah, the we. I'm trying to remember what I had for we. Sweet, maybe? I don't remember. S-U-I-T. Yeah, sweet.
Right. Sweet. Okay. Yeah, good stuff. Good job. That's awesome. Yeah, good stuff. All right. So yeah, I don't know. Anybody got any questions? Any points to make? Comments?
Well, back on the alphabet, I think I thought I heard David ask, and I have the same question. Is about the reason for the sigma being different at the end of the word. Do we have a reason, or is it just tradition?
There might be a reason. I never stumbled onto it. I saw a book. I was on Amazon today buying a few little Greek stories that are in Greek, just as like a Greek reader to practice. And I saw that one professor I had, Dr. Christopher Rico, Polis Institute in Jerusalem, like one of the books that he wrote had to do with the history of the alphabet. So I think our alphabet has roots way back before Christ and stuff. So in some measure, I mean, not saying it was anything super like it is today. Even the fact that our alphabet has got, I don't know Latin, but I think there's a resemblance to some of the things in Latin, I think, but definitely you can see it in Greek. So yeah, I don't really know. I mean, that'd be something if you guys want to Google it and find out and maybe let the class know or something. I don't really know the reason for that. So let's see here. Let me see if I can find something that settings to minimize feedback or something. Maybe it's something I have to just do next time. Yeah. Oh. I'll work on that next time.
Maybe try to see if you can get like a little mic that you can clip onto your shirt.
Yeah, actually, my headset, I meant to experiment with that. I totally forgot to experiment with that. That would have been good. My little headset that I wear around my neck, I could Bluetooth that to the computer, and I totally forgot to try that. Can you guys hear me okay though, or it's just the issue of feedback, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's walk through it again. Practice makes perfect. I don't know, David, do you want to go through the alphabet here?
Okay. Alpha. Epsilon. Eta. Yoda. Omicron. Upsilon. Omega.
Excellent. Okay. Frank, can you go through the 7 or 8 diphthongs?
Okay. I, you, a, who, boy, and said AU. AU, we.
Okay. Nice. Okay, Dave, you want to give that a try too? It's kind of important, so make sure you got it.
So, yeah, I'll give that a try. All right. Au, a,
Or
I,
yeah, right. Okay.
eu,
Yeah, you or you.
a, u,
Soup. Yeah.
boy, eu, we.
Okay. We got him. Okay, guys. So let's see where. Wow, 15 minutes into the class already. So yeah, I don't know if you guys want to go through the video this week, maybe to practice more, or maybe you can just do whatever you got to do to get them on a note card. Just keep practicing and stuff as much as you can. And yeah, hopefully next week we can start getting into a little bit of vocabulary and start working towards in the next couple weeks doing some simple sentences. And I mean, my idea is to kind of do a little bit different than, I mean, cut this mic. Actually, I can't cut the mic. Everybody's cut the mic. All right, let's see. I guess my mic is cut too. So yeah, my idea was to try something a little bit different than typical seminaries or typical textbooks or classes or whatever. The Polis Institute that I went, it was very different than any other Greek class. I don't know. I think Joseph, that is, familiar with Farms of the Way and stuff, he went to Polis Institute. I don't know if he went there and got a degree, if he just did like I did, went to a bunch of the summer courses and stuff. But I think his way of teaching is kind of similar to the way they do. Is he does a lot of like illustration and interaction and speaking and practicing with people and stuff from what I can tell. So eventually I'm going to kind of get in and blend a little bit of that in a little bit. But typically what they do is they'll start out just doing this sort of thing. Maybe they'll go into a little bit into how to accent. And I'm not going to go too much into that in the beginning. We'll hit it later on. And we'll hit it later on kind of just the bare minimum what you need to know. And then later on, as we go even further, then we'll get more into it, like another level or something. So it's something that I've gone years without really spending too much time on, because as long as you got the basics, it's not super, super, super relevant, but it does help to kind of eventually master it. But there's a lot to it. It's like the way you accent with verbs is different than nouns and adjectives and things. And with nouns and adjectives, there's a lot of memorization in that regard, whereas with verbs, not really. It's just there's a rule that you just follow for the most part. So the way typically seminaries, what they do is they'll start out, most of them, or even textbooks, if you purchase some textbooks online, and they'll spend a lot of time like with we'll get into what this means, but you got 3 types of what they call declension, like paradigms or models of patterns that you learn about certain types of nouns that follow a certain pattern. Because what you end up doing, similar to like in Spanish where you conjugate verbs, you do the equivalent with nouns and adjectives as well in their world. I mean, it's not exactly the same because they're 2 different animals. With verbs, you got first person, first, second, third person, then you got singular and plural, and then, you got tense and things or whatever, like in Spanish or something. But, and you've got that and more in Greek, but with nouns, it's like, okay, well, this particular case of the declension, because you learn 3 different types of declensions, you can almost think of them as like columns, and then rows would be thinking of it in terms of cases. So you got a nominative case, a genitive case, a dative case, and a accusative case. Those are 4 main ones. And then there's another one called the evocative case, and its sole purpose in life is just when you're doing public address. Like when I would, address you, David or Frank, I would put your name in that vocative case I wouldn't just put it in one of the other cases, or sometimes vocative and nominative, or it would be acceptable sometimes to just put it in nominative. But the nominative case, and we'll get into this more later on, so don't feel like you have to remember this stuff. But the nominative case, the form that either the noun or the adjective is in that case, would be for it to be as a subject of a sentence. And kind of with adjectives, what they do is they kind of almost like are like children. It's like a parent-child relationship. So the noun is like the parent and the adjective is like the child. So whatever the parent does, kind of like Jesus talking about his father in John chapter 5, whatever the father does, the son does also, right? So the adjective will morph chameleon-like to match the noun. So the noun, is, one of the cases, either nominative or genitive or dative or accusative, based on its role in the sentence. Is it the direct object? Is it the indirect object? Is it the subject? Is it possessive? Those sorts of things. And then you put it in that case for whatever role it is. So anyway, so that's the sort of idea what you do with nouns and adjectives. And then with verbs, you've got what I'd mentioned, plus you've got something called mood and you got something called voice as well. So we'll get into that stuff. But typically what seminaries do is they'll hit the easiest declension first, which is second declension, masculine, because there is a few feminine, I think, second declension, but it's really rare, super, super rare. And then likewise, when you do first declension, 90% of them are feminine, but you do sometimes have some masculine first declensions. So, but the declension just kind of shows you the pattern and the paradigm of what the noun would look like, and then it'll follow a certain pattern as it steps through nominative, genitive, vocative, dative, accusative, whatever. It'll follow it according to that declension pattern. And so very different. First declension is different than second declension, or excuse me. Yeah, right. Second declension versus there's even a third declension, which is the one that people learned last, right? So anyway, having said all that, you don't need to remember all those details, but a typical seminary will walk through second declension first, and maybe they'll do first declension, maybe, and then they start getting into verbs, and then they'll do first, just present tense, just plain vanilla present tense. What you would see if you look it up in the lexicon. If you look up any word in the lexicon, it's always going to be present tense, indicative mood, active voice. So you learn that first, and then it goes on up the ladder where you start doing, because that's present tense. Then you start doing simple past, and then you maybe, simple future, and, go on from there to where you maybe even start learning about mood and voice, and it gets a little more complicated with verbs and stuff, and that kind of can go on and on. So my idea, what I want to do is, before we get into that kind of stuff, is I actually want to give you guys a flavor without going, especially since we're only meeting once a week, just go a few, maybe a month from now, what would be holding us back is people who don't have a good comfort on the alphabet. If you have a pretty good comfort level on the alphabet, and I start writing something in Greek, maybe you got to think about it a little bit. You're like, okay, yeah, I got that, and that's fine. That's a good starting point. And then as we practice it and you're using it, you're like, after a while, you're just like, oh, okay, you're getting more and more used to recognizing how to pronounce that, and understand what it says. So just try to get a reasonable handle on the alphabet, and then we'll go from there. But anyway, what I want to do is just do some simple nouns, not a whole lot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look in the New Testament. I'm going to find the ones that are in there the vast majority of the time. I mean, they're all over the place. And we're going to start with those, and that's most of those are second declension. So the second declension are by far the most frequently occurring in the New Testament. So we'll just take a few of those, and then we'll learn present tense, and then we'll start forming some sentences, and then we'll just start speaking them with each other. We'll start practicing, and then probably there's probably another week after that. Then we'll actually start looking at some very simple sentences in the New Testament that you can read. So that's probably, I hope, no more than a month from now. So you'll be reading some simple little bit in the New Testament and stuff, and then we'll practice that, because I really like Polis's method. What they do is, like, I'll just give you for instance, let's use English for an example. So like if you're learning a simple sentence, a real simple sentence where you just got a subject, you got a verb, maybe you throw on a prepositional phrase to kind of just juice it up a little seasoning on the sentence or something. And then you say it that way. Let's say the first part of the sentence is, I'm going to the store, something like that, right? So then you wouldn't just say, I'm going to the store. Then maybe the other person would phrase a question in the second person, say, hey, are you going to the store? And then I would say, yeah, I'm going to the store. And if we're talking this back and forth, by practicing like that, it really helps you start remembering it. Because then maybe Frank would jump in and say, oh, and he would talk to you and say, hey, is he going to the store? And you'd say, yeah, he's going to the store. And then I would say, yeah, I'm going to the store. And then Frank might say to me, so you're going to the store? He's like, yeah, I'm going to the store. And it's like, if you really just pound it like that, like not very many classes do that, but Polis Institute does that. Just as you're doing that more and more, you get so used to the words that when you read the text, like when I read the New Testament, there's some parts of it that I'm not that familiar with, so I have to really think about what I'm reading. But most of the time, I'm just reading it like I'm reading English. And it's a really powerful additional learning aid, I think, to just the typical memorizing, learning to decode the language on paper and learn how to translate, because that's what most of them do. And they don't really spend much time, speaking it, making a living language. So I think the two together are really powerful. So anyway.
Hey, brother, sorry to cut you off. I'm gonna have to sign off.
Okay.
But thank you so much for setting this up, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Amen, brother. Yeah, actually, other than maybe Frank and I talk a little bit, we're probably going to end the class here pretty soon anyway, so no worries. So God bless you. Yeah, say hi to Victoria for me.
Say hi to Victoria. Will do. God bless you.
Okay, bless you, brother.
Frank.
Yeah.
Hey, you too. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, brother. See you, man. Hey, Frank, let me end the recording. Let me see. Where's my recording? Let's see.